Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Sunday, the 16th of May. Here to talk about the night slate for tonight, this complete and utter clown show. That's all that it is, right? Like, it's just absolutely going to be wild and insane, which is what we typically see with the NBA DFS on the last day. So buckle up, kids. It's about to get bumpy. If you can click that thumbs up button, that would be great. And let's talk about some of the plays that we should at least feel better about early in the day, knowing darn well plenty of things are going to change. I also want to thank a bunch of you guys for a good season. Obviously, we know it hasn't been the best year of NBA DFS with so many sits and so many scratches. It's been hard for people to stay with it. For everybody that opted out, we're probably not listening right now. We do have the playoffs coming up in a couple days. I completely understand why the contests have been smaller and people haven't been playing. It's a rough one, man. If you had a real life, it's a tough one. But we got the playoffs now. We should get some more consistency. We'll be there in a few days. It should be a lot of fun. So I'm very, very much excited about it. We've had a lot of success over here come playoff time, so it's a great time to get yourself a membership. And let's start today's show by just talking about who's playing for what today. So if you're playing the day slate, the Knicks, Wizards, and Hornets, Warriors and Grizzlies, and everything like that. But we're going to be talking about the night slate right here. You can see today's cover boy, Dame. I'll get into him in a little bit more detail. But they're playing to avoid the play-in game. That's a duh, right? Like, they have something to play for right there. And that's currently constructed. It looks like the Nuggets are going to give them a run for their money here. So that doesn't mean the Nuggets won't flip the script and all of a sudden pull everybody. And, Jokic has played every game this year, so I'm assuming he'll at least start the game at the very minimum. But as it sits right now, I expect the Nuggets to play to win, just not with a lot of confidence. Jazz playing to clinch the 1 seed. Pretty confident that means something to them. And the Lakers just need to win this game to avoid the play-in game. So if you're looking for teams that have motivation to play, it's a little bit of a breakdown. Again, guys, link to the website is below. We got weekly memberships, only $15, and monthly memberships that also get you Discord chat. Both packages get you both sports. If you just want NBA for the rest of the year, if you got $25, let's win some real money come playoff time. The PayPal and Venmo addresses are below. It's a one-time payment. Just send it that way. I'll get you all hooked up. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. So I'm going to start with Damian Lillard today. He's my top stud on the board. They have something to play for. He's been balling lately. He's a lock for me in all formats, especially if Denver is running their better players, which might seem counterintuitive. But the fact that they're playing guys to win this game means a lot to me right here. So Damian Lillard is easily my favorite stud on the board today. He's the one guy I trust to play really, really good minutes, and they have every motivation to win this game. Next up, let's talk about Friday's night. We ran hard on Kelly Olynyk. He ended up being a little bit more popular than we anticipated, but he was excellent. I think the thing to note right here is the Rockets, they don't have anything to play for, but they don't have anything to lose. So why not play your hearts out today? We know they're still missing the majority of their good players. Olynyk has been balling. He'll probably go under-owned by the masses again today. See that game log, guys. The Rockets can win this game. And you don't think they want to win the game just for their sake of happiness to end the year with some tiny little bit of glimmer of hope. So I expect Olynyk to play really, really well here again today. Next up, Patrick Williams from the Chicago Bulls. Called him out on yesterday's show. Didn't actually use him. That was a mistake. Mistakes were made here. So the Bucks technically need to win this game in order to have a chance at the 2 seed. The flip side of that is we absolutely have sorry, my dog's walking around. I think he needs to go out. The Bucks technically need to win this game, but the Cavs, are they really going to beat the Nets? So honestly, Milwaukee may end up with absolutely nothing to play for in this one. So I do think in the second half, it's possible you could see a bunch of scrub Bucks. It's possible you could see the Bucks just assuming that the Nets are going to win this one and rest their guys. There's a variety of ways to think that Williams could ball again right here. I don't expect Zach LaVine to play. Lauri Markkanen came out, is going to part ways with Chicago at the end of the year. So he's not a young guy that they're going to look to give huge minutes to. I wouldn't expect right here, which means I think it's a Patrick Williams game once again. He's my favorite of the Bulls today. He's very, 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 very cheap. I'll take a young guy. They want to get more game experience versus, older guys like Gary Temple and Denzel Valentine. So I'm a big Patrick Williams fan today. And again, if LaVine's out and maybe Thad Young was out and the Bucks run their B squad, he could end up being one of my favorite plays on the entire slate. Talented young player. Next up, let's talk about Rudy. Still playing for the 1 seed over for Utah today, so it's important for them to win this game. I think the 1 seed means something to them, so I expect them to play to win this game. You're going to get the Kings B squad. We'll talk about that here in a second, which is a good spot for Gobert to get lots of blocks and boards. The game's in Sacramento. There's going to be a bunch of guys in Sacramento tonight playing for jobs and stuff like that. So while the Jazz are extremely more talented and that talent can shine here and they could win this game, in the first quarter. There's also the possibility that Sacramento, they're playing hard. Utah thinks they're going to coast. They're mentally preparing for the playoffs, and that they actually have to try in the second half in order just to win this game and lock it down. So that could be good for Gobert. And while he's not a long shot per se, in the sense that he's going to start and play, he's a long shot based on ownership. Projected for single digit ownership. I like Gobert as a little bit of a sneaky play today, and I could see a scenario where he outscores a bunch of more expensive players today because he's got more to play for. I like the matchup for him against the Kings team and everything like that. So I like Gobert as a little bit of a sneakier play today. Even though I don't think he's going out for 60 or anything, you can leave money on the table today. There's going to be more expensive players that Gobert outscores. Well, last up, let's talk about this Kings team. And there's a guy named Louis King. As it stands right now, and this is obviously bound to change throughout the day, he's one of the cheap guys I'm looking at. We just saw him come off a monster game. The Kings have nothing to play for. They have absolutely no reason to try to win this game. So I think you see guys drop out of their rotation. I think they're going to play a bunch of guys that you probably haven't heard of. And Louis King is going to be one of those guys. Most importantly, he's playing for a job. He wants to be, on an NBA team. He's a guy that not a lot of people know about, although he is getting a little projection love today. Also, he's shown he's capable. He was out there hustling and balling last game out with 50-some DK points. There's a good chance Louis King outscores a ton of guys more expensive than him, which is also why you can leave money on the table today. Usually that's not the play in NBA. But outside of Dame, and I like Gobert and I like Olynyk, I'm also not shocked if Olynyk plays decent minutes in the early and then doesn't play much in the second half today. So I like him, but I think there's also a chance that a bunch of these lower price guys could outscore a bunch of the more expensive guys. That is the wildness of the last day of NBA. So feel free to get weird with it, especially if you're playing in the GPP mold, which I would highly recommend today. Today's definitely GPP only for me, but check out Louis King as a guy that should get a little love today, but there's going to be so many cheap plays. It's hard to see one of them is just crazy, overwhelming chalk. All right, guys, good luck today. Paying customers, members only will be out later today. I'm going to wait for as much information as I can.